Hey everybody, welcome to the next video for Fallout Equestria. You notice the screen's a little different because this time, for this chapter, we're going to be using the audiobook done by Crazed Rambling. But K-Cat, again, I'm assuming it's the actual K-Cat, told me that he doesn't do the beginning things nor the footnote at the end with like the level ups and perks, and I like those. So we're going to start with those, then we're going to transition to him. Okay, we're at chapter 5, Calamity. Friendship. Friendship never changes. Oh, I just want the guy who does the actual Fallout stuff to do that, and we gotta go down here, chapter 5.
Alive. I was still alive. As consciousness came back to me, I found myself laying on a mattress, with blankets tucked about me, feeling warm and rested, and far more comfortable than I had since before I
Oh, good, they didn't just leave her there.
Ago. At least, I thought it was 3 days ago. I had no idea how long I'd been unconscious. By habit, I lifted up my forehoof to check the date and time on my pip buck. Doing so unsettled the blanket, which proceeded to slide to the floor.
If only Metal Gear Solid.
Oh, look who's awake! The pretty voice of a mare awfully close to me shocked me into full alertness.
That's a mare?
Looking up and about, I found myself surrounded by several ponies, only one of which I recognized. And that was the Pegasus who shot me in the first place. I wondered if I was his prisoner. The voice had come from an equally pretty, white-coated earth pony, whose cotton candy pink mane matched the pink and yellow striped nurse's dress she was wearing. Scanning what I could see of the walls through the small crowd of ponies, I saw a line of 3 medical boxes, all the little pink butterflies perfectly in a row.
Did you use 3 medical boxes?
A pre-war poster apparently advertising jobs in healthcare services. You don't need to be a Steel Ranger to be a hero. Join the Ministry of Peace today, announced the mayor on the poster, barely more than a filly, who wore the exact same dress that I saw brought to life before me. Between the decor and the lack of ropes or chains, I concluded this was a clinic, and I was not a captive. Besides, I was actually feeling quite good. Tired, almost like I needed a good nap.
I mean, a slave's only worth something if they can work.
Tired and kind of warm. I sat up, and the room spun. Take it easy there, partner, the Pegasus, whose name I recalled was Calamity, although I was a bit fuzzy on how I had learned that, said, stepping towards me.
I don't think this woman's going to work for us.
I scooted back on the mattress. Oh, sure, he looked polite and gentle now with all these ponies around, but I'd seen him when he was all murder from above, guns blazing, death Pegasus.
Nice.
Candy? One of the other ponies, a gray-coated earth pony with a black mane and tail, asked as he looked to my nurse. Although to me it sounded like he was calling her Candy, and I felt an oddly cheerful urge to agree. Oh, she'll be perfectly fine. I mixed up the last healing potion she needed and gave it to her less than an hour ago. Mixed? The gray earth pony raised an eyebrow dubiously. Candy smiled. Why, with apple snaps, of course. I find the medicine always goes down better that way. I couldn't understand why, the gray pony face-hoofed. I felt perfectly fine now. Better than fine. And pleasantly warm.
You've been drugged.
The gray stallion started shooing all of my guests away. That made me feel slightly sad, although I really didn't know any of them. I'd felt so lonely these last few days, so eager to find civilization. And here it was, but he wasn't letting me keep it.
No,
A thought
sucks.
which I realized didn't quite make sense, although I wasn't sure why. Come on out when you're feeling up to it. I know there's some ponies who'd like to see you. The gray stallion smiled at me, then looked at the rust-colored
What happened to your armor?
You too, Calamity. Out you go.
And your weapons.
Calamity took
That's the first thing you
back
should check.
before scooting out. Candy pranced up to me and whispered dreamily, Such a handsome stallion, isn't he? Who? Why, Calamity, of course, she giggled. I was at a loss for words. No, I wasn't. He shot me. She waved that off with a hoof wiggle. I'm sure it was just a misunderstanding. It was, I recall, but why was I having this conversation? If anything, I wanted to talk about how pretty Candy.
Yeah, not everybody rolls that way.
Not talk about Calamity. Least of all, whether or not he was handsome. None of which
honestly, he looks kind of bland.
A way to be spoken aloud. Sulkingly, I fell back on reiterating, he shot me, then added, a lot.
That's why you wear your armor.
More rested and with a much clearer head, I was eager to meet the ponies of New Appalachia.
Yeah, I don't think this format's going to work for these videos.
I've been out for nearly 2 days.
Because I want to listen, but I
gazed over
so you guys watch for my reactions, but this I gotta listen.
I realized were railroad tracks converged into a town made of largely of dozens upon dozens of virtually identical homes built from old passenger cars, many of them stacked 2 or 3 high. Most still had their wheels. Heavy metal boxcars formed a ring around the town, with a massive gate on either side. Armed pony guards walked around the tops of the boxcars.
It's actually
keeping their
kind of
eyes on
unique
the
for a
wastes
town.
outside. Inside, scores of earth and unicorn ponies trotted about their daily lives. The place was dirty, rusty, and altogether wonderful. How did you get them stacked like that? I asked, looking up at the stacked train cars, the tallest group being 4 high. Railing and catwalks spanned out from it.
I just keep
connecting
thinking
down
of
the
Metro.
towers. On the highest roof, brilliantly glowing letters announced Turnpike Tavern. Railright, the gray and black stallion who had turned out to be the sheriff/mayor/general hold-togetherer of the town, deadpanned. Had one of them unicorn ponies do it. I turned with a gasp, staring at him. I'd never heard of a pony levitating anything that big or heavy before.
Ah, my mouse is lagging. I want
Railright
to check
held
the
a
volume.
serious expression just a moment longer before chortling. I'm just playing with you. My astonishment faded into a sheepish grin as he smiled and pointed towards the sky behind us. That's what the crane is for. Looking back up, I could see the huge orange tower of metal jutting out above the town, a massive hook dangling from its long arm. Although, he continued, if you're looking for a heavy lifter, you can't do better than Crane. You should talk to him. Talk to the
Why?
Crane? I said slowly, trying to gauge if this was another joke. But it wasn't. Crane, he told me, was the name of a unicorn pony who worked in the train yard.
Yeah, but why would she need
Won't
heavy
find a
lifting?
better and stronger telekinetic this side of the Candelot ruins. With that, Railroad offered to give me a grand tour. The Appaloosa's general supply store was called Absolutely Everything. It was the 4th
Wait,
stop on the tour.
what's this town called?
Railroad smiled knowingly as he coaxed me towards the odd-looking building. 3 train cars, each a different type.
What? No,
infused
go back.
together
What's
to
this
create a
town
store.
called?
One of them was a barrel-shaped car of black metal, dominated by a smokestack. This was one of the sources of smoke I had seen in the distance. Pausing in front of the door, I read the signs beneath the playful block letters of the store name. Yes, I do deliveries. No hooves, no nasty stingers, no service. Ask me about special orders. I won't answer, but I'll get right on it. Wasteland Survival Guide, available now. First copy for every family is free. I pushed the door open,
That's
stepped
nice.
inside, and stopped when I gasped as I saw the zombie pony from the Raider library.
Hey, it's
I
Derpy!
could tell she was the same one by the way one of her eyes rolled up. The fact that she recognized me with an immediate bright smile and dashed over to give me an uncomfortably squishy hug were
It's
admittedly
Derpy.
also cues.
Or Muffin,
She
as her
backtrotted
official
and
name
waved
is.
forth about in what was a surprisingly effective combination of welcoming and showing off the store. Something I hated to admit I was thankful for. The stench of her as she hugged me forced me to hold my breath. I had been
Ugh.
sure gagging would have been impolite. Hello again, I said, feeling a little awkward. Last time the Pegasus zombie pony saw me, I was trotting off to put a bullet in a Raider's brain pan. Howdy, said a familiar voice off to my left. I'd been so focused on the zombie pony that I'd totally missed that there were other people in the store. Turning, I found Calamity looking back at me with a bashful smile. Look,
You
before
can't
scamper,
blame
I just
Calamity.
want to say how sorry I am.
Little Pip really did
I
look
didn't
like a
scamper,
raider.
although I did take a cautious step back. I've been getting the story from Ditsy Doo here, see? Ditsy Doo.
Ditsy Doo. I
Turned
hate
to the
that
Pegasus
name.
zombie.
I'll be honest with you.
wrote the Wasteland Survival Guide? Both Ditsy Doo's eyes managed to focus on me, and she was absolutely beaming with joy, nodding fervently. Yes, I do deliveries. Suddenly, I had a very good idea how that book ended up in Ponyville Library, which, in turn, fortified my suspicions about Watcher. While I was thinking, Ditsy Doo had rushed up, another copy of the book in her mouth, and was stuffing it into my saddlebags.
Oh, she already got a copy. Don't
The
worry.
zombie pony was amazingly kind and generous, and had a severe problem with personal space.
Oh,
I opened my mouth.
I
to
just
say
want to
something,
hug her, but
maybe that I already had a copy.
no, I don't.
Although, considering
The
there were
stink,
several
but-
pages torn out of the copy on the Raider's table, having another could be quite helpful. However, whatever I was about to say got derailed by a strange realization. You don't talk much, do you? Could zombie ponies talk? Ditsy Doo stepped back.
I don't know.
and opened her
We haven't
muzzle
gotten that
wide,
far yet.
giving me more of a look inside of her mouth than I had ever wanted. Calamity focused my attention. Ditsy Doo's tongue was cut out by slavers a few decades ago. She gets by real well without it, though.
Oh,
So then, Monterey Jack's warning had been cringingly accurate. Ditsy Doo trotted to the sales counter. She picked up a pencil in her teeth and scribbled something on the first sheet of a large pad of notepaper. She dropped the pencil and held up the notepad, her eye going
Fucked
weird
up.
again.
Happened to one of my
Looking
favorites.
strictly at the paper so my gaze didn't rudely follow her eye, I read aloud. Because I couldn't talk, I took up writing. If it hadn't been for that, I would never have gotten so good at it. I looked up at her with a blink. Ditsy-Do put down the pad, picking up the pencil again, and added a line before lifting it again for me to read. Now, how about we get you some better armor?
No,
Bottle caps? That's what ponies use for money out here.
Yeah.
As absurd as it was, and it was absolutely ludicrous, I should have seen that coming. No wonder the raiders were hoarding the things. No wonder there were empty bottles littered everywhere, but not a bottle cap to be found. Except, of course, for the one I tossed casually away somewhere outside iron-shod firearms. My stable utility barding was back at absolutely everything. Ditsy-Do didn't have any armor in my size, but she swore she could modify my barding so it was better than the best armor any
You know,
raiders ground together.
something I
She
realized.
offered to do it for free, but I insisted on paying her for work. And that's when I discovered the absolutely cockeyed, no offense to Ditsy, barter system used throughout the equestrian wasteland.
I got something to
Bottle
say, but I'll
caps.
pause in a minute.
Seriously. Fortunately, pre-war money was still worth something, if only in bulk. If for no other reason than they could get sodas out of the few vending machines that hadn't simply been pried open and raided already. Ditsy-Do took all but a few of my coins. I had no...
Okay. I've seen a lot of fan art of Lil Pip. She's always wearing, the normal jumpsuit and, a little shoulder pad here. But that's not what she looks like. I think I talked about this last time. It's been a while since I got to Fallout Equestria. But that's not what she looks like, guys. She has mashed up radar armor. I don't even think she has her jumpsuit anymore. She's got the... I'm not sure what a barding is. I'm going to have to look it up. To me, it's like a bandolier, I think. But no, that's a bandolier. What the fuck is a barding? I don't know. But the point is, the fan art lies. She does not look that clean. And she's got bits of radar armor. I want to see that artwork. I think, I'm a fan of scrap armor. Like, when I say scrap armor, I think, like, the Skaven from Warhammer. The, that kind of armor. Like, the kind of scrapped, but it actually looks workable or usable and it could protect you. Just scrap armor. And I kind of want to see what Lil Pip would look like wearing it. Cue Skaven armor picture here. Okay, now we're continuing on.
idea if what I'd given her was a fair price, but I suspect I was getting a generous discount. She also insisted on giving me a sheet of paper detailing an entirely different use for bottle caps.
Thought of something. Equestria's pre-war money. Now again, this Equestria is much more advanced than the one in the show. But the money used by Equestria is bits. And from what we've seen, it appears to have 3 denominations of bits. In the show, we've seen copper-looking bits, silver-looking bits, and gold bits. And we know in the Fallout universe, precious metals like silver and gold are worth a lot. Like in Sierra Madre, a gold bar is worth over 10,000 caps. So you would think that the bits, assuming that's what they are, because they haven't said if they use paper currency for pre-war, so I'm just assuming it's bits. You would think that they would still be worth something, like either silver or gold bits would be worth a lot, or the copper or brass or whatever they are bits would still be worth something, because you can melt those down into useful items. So the idea of the pre-war money not being worth a lot, yeah, maybe they'll say they moved on to... let's assume they moved on to paper currency, or fiat currency. Is it fiat? I think it's fiat, the paper with nothing backing it, which is most modern currencies. It's valuable because the government tells you it's valuable, when in reality, it's paper. Oh God, no! Give me a second. Okay, we're back at where we were. I just saw this video is an hour long. This is an hour long thing. Oh, this is gonna be 2 parts. This is gonna be 2 parts because
Few vending machines that hadn't simply been pried open and raided already. Ditsy-Do took all but a few of my coins. I had no idea if what I'd given her was a fair price, but I suspect I was getting a generous discount. She also insisted on giving me a sheet of paper detailing an entirely different use for bottle caps, a way to turn them into homemade mines.
Now that's just a waste. Don't do that.
Apparently, it was going to be an insert for the Wasteland Survival Guide's chapter on mines, but some pony wisely discouraged her from including it. When I had left absolutely everything, Railright commented, "Ditzy-Doo's our resident Pegasus, as well as our resident Ghoul." Right, because Ghoul Pony sounds so much better than Zombie Pony. Although, he continued, poking a hoof towards Calamity, I
Maybe.
keep telling this one he's always welcome to settle down here in my town. He's been keeping the caravan safe going on for 4 years now. Now, as I was on my way to
I just see
Plain,
Lucas Simmons,
with Calamity
damn it.
running along beside me, I finally ventured conversation with the rust-colored stallion. So, you don't live here? Nope, got my own place about half an hour's flight distant. I thought over what I knew of Pegasus ponies. A place up in the clouds? I could swear Calamity's eyes just widened a bit. Oh no. Just a shack. Something some pony threw together a few generations ago, only to get eaten by wild animals in these here parts.
Nice.
I'd already encountered some of these wild animals in these parts. As we walked down the catwalk, my gaze fell on the strange weapon that Calamity wore, my eyes following from the gun barrels to the odd metal protrusion that stuck out in front of him. A control mechanism, I suspected. I opened my mouth to ask him about it, only to find myself looking at air. I stopped and looked back. He had halted abruptly to let by a mare in a straw sun hat and her colt. The mare was apparently having trouble keeping the colt from dashing off at top speed. She looked like she wanted the leash. But Ma, I want to go see Derpy. Calamity
Yeah!
whispered. That's what some folks call Ditzy-Doo, 'cause the eye. Yeah, that's what they'd focus on. The bullies back in Stable 2 would totally have ignored the whole putrefying flesh thing for that.
Well, they might be worried
she
she
doesn't
would
seem
eat
to
them.
mind. I actually think she finds it endearing. I didn't point out that Ditzy-Doo didn't seem to mind having her tongue cut out either. Didn't make it right.
God,
Trolley, you get back here.
don't
The
mention
mother
that.
called out as the colt started to trot a little too fast. And you stay away from that store. I don't want you bothering that thing. Thing? Okay, I'll admit, I'd thought of her as an it a few times. But that was back when I thought she was dead.
You were ignorant. It's
Stop.
alright.
Excuse me, miss. I'm new here. Is there something wrong about ghoul ponies? The mayor looked abashed, staring more at Calamity than me. I didn't need to look. I could feel his scowl. Well, nothing against good old Derpy. I mean, Miss Ditzy-Doo. But, well, you know. Know what?
No.
I persisted, trying not to hint at the shame I was feeling for having balked at her smell, or the grossly squishy way her hug felt. Well, the mare looked about furtively, then lowered her head, whispering, You know what they're all like, ticking time bombs, right? I mean, you can see what being a ghoul is doing to your outsides. Imagine what it's doing to their brains. They all go mad sooner or later. Dear Ditzy.
To be fair, we don't know what causes ghouls to go
She's a
feral.
little crazy for
We
me,
have no idea.
but someday.
I mean,
just don't
some.
want my boy to hurry that long, none. I won't be
You
there
know
when
what? That's
she finally
not fair to
goes
ghouls,
us
because
all.
people go crazy
The
too.
mare drew herself up, pulling Trolley close.
They turn to
Hurried
crazy
off,
cannibals. Look at the
away,
Raiders.
notably,
Look at the Raiders.
absolutely everything.
I
stood
give
there
me the
for a
feral
long time,
ghouls.
stunned. Finally, I asked Calamity, Is that true? Calamity sighed deeply. It was not a good sign. Yep.
Yeah, talk about
Most of
this
them
for a
anyway.
minute.
You get into the wrong places, you find yourselves hunted by whole packs of cannibal ghoul ponies gone zombie. But, and I mean this, that's only most of them, and even the good pony folk, if a little smelly and strange looking, until that day. Some, like Ditzy-Doo, break the odds and never lose their noodle.
Ah, okay, we gotta talk about this. Okay, for one, it's not a ghoul thing. I mean, it happens to people too. It's mental break, basically. Look at the Raiders. They're cannibals. They're murderers. They're just smart enough to use guns and tactics. Sometimes. Feral ghouls? They don't use guns. They don't use I would rather fight a feral ghoul than I would a raider. Okay? Because the feral ghoul is not going to rape you. The feral ghoul is not going to torture you. It's just going to kill you, then eat you. It won't even eat you alive. It'll kill you first. I mean, that's mercy right there. So really, again, I went on a tangent there about raiders and feral ghouls, but it's not just the ghouls who go insane. and crazy and feral. It happens to the regular people too. In fact, they're arguably worse because they still have some mental faculties to use tactics and conversation stuff. So, is it really just ghouls who go feral? No, that's bullshit. And I go so far as to call it racism by saying, oh look, they're ghouls, they went feral. Well, what about the fucking raider over there? Is he feral? So we just say all humans are ticking time bombs over there? I can understand why. I mean, they... No, I can't. Fuck it, I don't understand why. Like, okay, ghouls can go feral. So can people. That people become raiders, ghouls can become feral. But in the end, if it's mental break, it's sheer stress and radiation and stuff. It's just a bunch of bad shit. It's like what the Joker says. One bad day. So really, there's no difference. I mean, ghouls. If a ghoul is a ticking time bomb, then so are everybody. So is everybody else. There's literally no real difference. Ghouls will eat you. Raiders will do worse. And you could basically say raiders are the feral version of the normal people. So, I know it's weird because ghouls are not real. They don't exist. Yet, I have to fight for their civil liberties. No.
I understood the spirit of the words, but the news didn't make me scared of the hairless Pegasus rider. It made me ache for her. Crane was a yellow unicorn pony with an orange and beige striped.
This is what Fallout does. It makes you care about the security and prejudices of a non-existent people.
This one actually still on the tracks that ran through town and connected to several others. Howdy. Pleased to meet the little mare with the pit buck who saved Sweet Apple and Ditsy Doo. Not to mention Desert Rose, Barrel Cactus, and Turquoise. He stopped.
Oh, you know all of them.
Pleased to meet
you. You know all of them.
I smiled, feeling a touch wobbly after the hoofshake.
How?
Railwright told me you're the pony to talk to if I wanted to see some heavy lifting. Crane smiled, then casually lifted 3 barrels at once, putting them in their places on the flatbed. Reckon I am. Then, to my shock, he asked, what kind of spells you got? Spells? I replied hesitantly. You know, he continued, talking while 3 more barrels levitated by, glowing with the same light as shone from his horn. Unicorn ponies generally have a small collection of magical spells, usually related to what he or she is destined to be good at. Except for the ones that are destined to be good at spells, of course, because then they get a whole heap of them.
That's not fair.
For instance, I can make all manner of repairs to the rails and trains just by focusing at them. Crap. Kicking a hoof of the ground, I sighed deeply. Nope, just telekinesis. No spells. I knew it was pathetic. Levitation was basic filly stuff. By the time I got my cutie mark, every other unicorn stable too had a nice collection of spells.
Why don't you go to the library and learn some
Crane,
spells?
for reminding me that I was probably the most unmagical unicorn ever. Crane's eyes widened in surprise, and he quickly changed the subject. Now I've got lots of work to do, but I tell you what, if y'all would do me a small favor, I'll return it by teaching you everything I know about heavy lifting. Sounded great to me.
Ah, we get a free perk.
Fetch him a soda, maybe some lunch, help tie down the barrels in the flatbed. We've been having a small bit of trouble with the things that have been crawling up out of that old stable west of here. From what I hear, y'all are mighty brave and ain't no slouch with slinging a firearm. Just get down to the stable and close the door. I reckon we can clear out the vomits up here if some pony locks off their breeding grounds. Okay, not a soda run. So, why are you with me again? The sky had darkened prematurely. I would soon have to turn on my lamp spell of my pit.
If there's a line break, I feel he should announce that.
He said earnestly as he followed beside me. Maybe a whole mess of ones, considering all the good you did for the good ponies in New Appaloosa. With a sigh,
no, you're not doing it right.
It's
Appaloosa.
Raider armor.
If you're gonna do it right.
Carrying an arsenal that would make the average raider radioactive and envy. Caked in raider blood. Armor you only had because you needed protection while saving the lives of 5 good towns-ponies. Only 4, really. Ditsy Doo saved Sweet Apple. And you saved Ditsy Doo so she could save Sweet Apple. In my book, that makes 5. He took a deep breath. Besides, I can't consent to you going down there alone. I've heard dark stories about those stables. Bad things happen down there, and too many of them. I came from a stable. Hell, every pony came from some pony who came from a stable, right? I can see why an empty one would be an inviting nesting ground, but it's not like the stables are cursed or sinister.
Oh, you know.
I suppose you're right about that.
This is based on
Also,
Fallout
if
3
you
and
did
beyond.
somehow survive the
Fuck
apocalypse
those
on the
stables.
surface, or are descended from the folks who did. I halted my trot so abruptly I nearly fell over. My surviving canteen, refilled, swung out and back, smacking me in the chest. Ditsy Do survive the war? She's that old? Yep. Ghoul ponies don't age like normal pony folk. The idea of a pony who had actually been around way back then, who actually knew what happened, blew my mind away. What's her story? Calamity snorted a laugh. So long I couldn't even guess the most of it. I do know she was flying outside Cloudsdale when the first megaspell hit it. She was caught at the very edge of the magical energies that wiped out the entire city. Been a ghoul ever since. I nodded, continuing on in my solemn silence. The image of an entire city in the clouds filled with Pegasus ponies played out in my head. There 1 minute, and then just nothing. The clouds above started to leak. It was like being in a shower back at Stable 2. Only
Who's
the shower
making
was
it rain?
everywhere, and it didn't stop. If I hadn't been cleaned by Candy the day before, I would have welcomed it, despite the cold of the water. Now, soaked to the bone, I just found it miserable.
No, I love the cold rain. It's a personal favorite.
In theory, it was still daylight, but that was hard to believe. A ferocious wind had picked up out of nowhere and was whipping the rain at us like a weapon. What's going on? I cried out to Calamity above the storm. It's a thunderstorm, and a mighty big one. We best be finding some shelter, 'cause it's getting started. Thunderstorm? I hollered back as a patch of clouds lit up briefly but brilliantly. What's thunder? Kaboom!
What? How do you
The
not?
sky exploded.
I know you grew up in a
Sound
vault,
of
but
gunshot.
you should probably
Gun
know
by
what
Celestia herself,
thunder is.
Made out of pure awesome. I actually tried hiding under Calamity. Get a hold of yourself there! Timidly and a little bashfully, I backed up and got on my hooves. Another flash illuminated the whole countryside in stark white and shadow, gone before I realized it had happened.
And lightning?
Another mighty boom tore the sky, following close behind the flash. Calamity had to put his forehooves on me to stop me from trying it again. If y'all are so scared of the thunder, wait till you actually see the lightning, he chuckled. Now let's get
lightning's
moving
not so
so we
bad.
can find some shelter.
It's there and gone.
Each flash of light in the clouds was followed by a terrifying crack or a mighty boom. A little later, I did indeed see the lightning. I'd been envisioning lightning bolts like those blasts of electricity like the brain bots had been shooting at me. This was nothing like that. This was a white tear through the sky, like the universe itself had been slashed open. It lasted an eye blink, but I still saw its afterimage floating in front of my face for several minutes later. I also saw some pony, or I thought I did, in the far distance on a hilltop, briefly illuminated by the lightning.
You probably
I
did.
couldn't tell if it was a unicorn or a Pegasus. At first,
Why just those two? What about Earth
but the vision was
ponies?
gone before I could be sure I had seen anything at all. We galloped, the ground beneath us increasingly muddy and treacherous, until we were forced to stop by a raging, frothy river. The muddy, rushing water
thought
was tearing
something.
away the banks on each side.
Where are
I could
all
see
the
black
Pegasi?
shapes of uprooted dead trees as they were carried away. Just beyond the other side rose a cliff face. Water was pouring down the cracks of the cliff in 100 rivulets, each feeding into the river at the bottom. Across from us, just a little way up the cliff, was the dark mouth of a cave. The path up to it was already washed away. I stood there, staring helplessly, trying to figure out how we were going to get across.
Time.
Then, I felt myself being lifted into the air as Calamity flew us over the river and set me down on the mouth of the cave, feeling quite stupid. I stepped further in, shining the lamp of my pit buck into the cave. The path continued up about a yard, then took a steep decline with frightfully old metal stairs, rusted nearly black, leading to a
We're gonna
concrete
break the
landing.
video pretty soon.
Once at the landing, the rough walls were replaced by stonework. At the end, a very familiar-looking steel door hung open on its hinge arm.
That's a good place to stop the video. Fucking 59 minutes. Oh, I don't want to spend all day here. Well. Let's cut this video. I got some stuff to talk about. One, that looks stupid. It just looks stupid. Two, where are all the Pegasi? Did they say something earlier? Because if there's a big cloud cover, The Pegasi You know, I fucking hate Pegasi. They're assholes. Not all of them. Not all of them, but the ones who live in the clouds are. I mean, you got the Wonderbolts. The recent episodes featuring them, they're fucking assholes. You got the weather workers in the factory, they're fucking assholes. I would not be surprised if they're just chilling up there in the sunlight. Where do they get their food? Assuming they are up there, on top of the clouds, making it rain, where are they getting their food from? Why did they cover the whole planet in clouds? What's the point of even making it rain if you're just going to hang up there? Because I think Calamity's the only Pegasi we've actually seen so far. I think all the Raiders were Earth ponies or unicorns. And New Appaloosa was just unicorns and Earth ponies with only Calamity, right? Ah, shit! Now I'm not going to go back and look through it. These chapters are too long. Is it really that? Jesus fuck! Look at that tiny little scroll bar. That's not good. Okay, well, cutting the video here. I'm going to ruminate on the possibility that the Pegasi are assholes. Oh, and just cry as I look at this 59 minutes as this video saves.